Sean Diddy Combs just scored a huge win while in prison. He's going to be coming home a lot sooner than his 50-month sentence said he would be coming home. They said originally that he'd be coming home about May 2028. It's looking like April 2026 now. He scored a huge win. He was granted a rehabilitation program that I've been telling you guys that I believe that he was going to get into this program. And reports previously this week had come out about Diddy being in jail, getting caught for drinking and different things like that. And some people felt like, maybe that's going to hurt him. And it turns out that might have helped him. It might have helped him get into the rehab program, which is the reason he wanted to get transferred to where he is in the first place. Every win that he's gotten has been right on schedule for him since the trial ended. So it started with, okay, I'm convicted of the lesser charges, right? The RICO charge got thrown out. Some of the bigger things that would have gotten him a lot more time got thrown out. Convicted on these prostitution-related charges. He got that. That's a win for him and his lawyers. Then in sentencing, he doesn't get the 11 years that the feds were recommending that he would get. He ends up getting about 50 months, 4 years, 2 months. He already had a year of time served, which means he would have been coming home May 2028 if everything else just stayed the same, if nothing else, if there was no programs, if there was no appeal, none of that. So that was a win by his lawyers, all things considered. Now, for somebody like Diddy, that's a lot of time still. 50 months, if you have to do the whole 50 months, somebody like Diddy that's been a billionaire and been on yachts and eating escargot, of course, he's going to feel like that's a lot of time. That's a lifetime for him. Who wants to do a day when you have that kind of money? But for his lawyers, it's a win. Then he goes and he tries to get an appeal. Obviously, we all knew from the very beginning, if Diddy was convicted on anything, that he was going to try to get an appeal. And the judge granted that Sean Diddy Combs have an expedited appeal schedule, which is not normal, right? So instead of having to do the remaining 2 years, they pushed it up and say you can come in for your final hearing on your appeal in April. Now, he has some other hearings before that, but April is when the decision will be made. I believe that he's going to get the appeal in April and he's going to be coming home. Why? Because everything else is going in his favor up until this point as well. The sentencing went in his favor. The convictions went in his favor. Everything looks like, outside of him just walking out the courtroom and going home and getting bail, everything since the trial ended looks like it's going in his favor. Then, after he was convicted, I forgot this part, that he was actually able to go to the prison that he requested. He went to Fort Dix in New Jersey, DIX, and he wanted to go there in order to get specifically into a drug rehabilitation program that they offer, where he can get his time knocked off and have to do a lot less time than he would if he wasn't in the program. Now it's being reported that Sean Diddy Combs is in the rehab behind bars, which will reduce his sentence by 1 year. That's what a spokesman says. The article says Sean Combs is participating in a drug rehabilitation program behind bars that could reduce the sentence by so much as a year. The founder of Bad Boys Entertainment is committed to sobriety, healing, and trying to set an example for others. Now, it was reported this week that Diddy got caught with some Pruno, some hooch, some jailhouse alcohol, right? That's inmates make with the fruits, and they ferment their fruits and make their own alcohol. And if that's true, if that happened behind the scenes, and Diddy's spokespeople have said that it didn't happen, but if it did happen, that may have helped him get into this drug rehabilitation program. Because look, man, I'm trying to stay sober, but I can't, man. I can't even be around it. And y'all see, that may have helped him. Even those reports may have helped him get into this program, right? You never know if Diddy is a marketing genius, so you don't know if he had his team put those reports out in order for him to get into the program, So it says that, this is a quote, Mr. Combs is an active participant in the RDAP program, the Residential Drug Abuse Program, and has taken his rehabilitation process seriously from the start. He is fully engaged in his work, focused on growth, and committed to a positive change. Now, do we believe that to be true? I don't know, man. The Bible says you know them by their fruit. We got to see what Diddy comes out and how he acts when he comes out. He's coming home eventually, right? The federal inmate locator indicates that Combs is expected to be released in May 2028. Completing the rehab program could mean an earlier release, though he will still face the 5 years of supervision after being released, as well as drug testing and mental health meetings prescribed under a sentence, which he's appealing. So I believe that Diddy is only appealing not because he got so much time that it's like, I don't want to do another day. Obviously, nobody wants to do a day in prison. But I think it's more so about getting off of that 5 years of supervision afterwards, because he don't want to be on that paperwork. Because then you do have to check in. Then you do have to submit to drug tests and piss tests and different things like that. And I don't think Diddy wants that level of supervision on his life when he gets home, because maybe he wants to go back into doing some of the things that he did before. Maybe he wants the option. And, nobody wants to be on papers, but Diddy is, from everything that we've been presented from the court dockets and different things like that, he seems like a little bit of a control freak. So I can't imagine him wanting to be under control and still under the 5 years of supervision. That's a long time to be on paperwork. And it's very easy to mess that up. Somebody that he's in jail currently with is Sebastian Telfair, who's in there for messing up while on supervised release or on supervision, right? So he sees that they will violate you and send you back to prison. So maybe that's what the appeal is about more than anything. The article says prosecutors have sought more than 11 years of a sentence. The disgraced music mogul was sentenced to 50 months in prison on October 3rd, following his conviction on the 2 counts of transporting people for prostitution. He received credit for 14 months of time served before the sentencing. So he had did 14 months in jail before he even got convicted. The rehabilitation program provided at Fort Dix, a low security federal prison in New Jersey, where he requested to be. That's where it's provided. It says Combs has been accepted into the program and is working in the chapel library there. He works in the chapel library. This is a quote from the spokesman. He works in the chapel library where he describes the environment as warm, respectful, and rewarding. So Diddy is in there on easy time in a low security facility. He in there with other people that are relatively famous and have been financially successful. Not as much as, obviously, not as much as Diddy, likely, but especially not legally. But he's in there in a low security place where he ain't gonna have too much of a problem. The article says a statement posted to Diddy's X account on Monday said that the rumors claiming Mr. Combs was caught with alcohol are completely false. His only focus is on becoming the best version of himself and returning to his family. And I hope that's true. I don't know that anybody is buying it. I don't know if everybody is, anybody's going to be back in the business of giving Diddy the benefit of the doubt. Everything that we've seen so far hasn't been good. I'm of the belief that he has the opportunity to redeem himself. And I know that, Diddy has proclaimed Christ and proclaimed to know God in the past. Hopefully he comes back to that and walks that path, and it's genuine and it's serious. And he redeems himself in the ways that he can, because he's always going to have more enemies than friends. That's just the path that he has. And that's the road that he's going to have to travel from now on. But he can do a lot of good with his platform, his resources, his finances, and different things like that. And it seems like, all things considered, they pushed his appeals process up to April. I believe he's going to get the appeal, and I believe he's going to come home. I think that it sucks for the victims of the crimes, and it sucks for the people that he's harmed, that he won't be, in my opinion, I don't think that he'll really pay a significant penalty as compared to the damage that he's caused throughout the decades and decades of time. But this is what's going on. And I'm just reporting the news as is, man. We'll see how this thing plays out. And if we get any more updates, I'll bring it back to the channel and let you guys know what's going on. But right now, at the very least, it looks like Diddy's going to get another year knocked off his sentence. So at the latest, May 2028, or at the latest, May 2027, since he's been enrolled in this drug program. And it's likely that he can get an appeal in April 2026. So we'll see what happens with him, man. And I'll bring all the updates back to the channel and let you guys know.